preaching about the world like it's some kind of joke. Says he loves peace, but his tongue cuts deep, keeps folks awake when they trying to sleep. 1 second smiling, next he's throwing flames, talking so wild they forgot his name. He got the mind-stained blues, Lord, can't you see? Every word he speaks spill misery. Folks don't argue, they just refuse. They walk away from that mind-stained blues. You got the mind-stained blues, oh yes, it's true. Every time he talks, something foul comes through. Got a mouth full of facts that don't hold no weight. Spits like he's wise, but he's preaching hate. Claims he's a healer, claims he's woke, but his love's just a cruel man's joke. Joy to rage like a rattlesnake strike, talking about peace while he picks a fight. He got the mind-stained blues, can't wash it off. Every word he spills just makes folks scoff. Folks don't listen, they pay no dues. They done tuned out them mind-stained blues. Yeah, he got the mind-stained blues and it sticks like glue. The more he talks, the less sounds true. Mirror full of lies, dressed up like grace, painted smile on a weathered face. But you scratch that mask and what you find is thorns in a crown and a crooked mind. Talks about sinners, but he sins the same. Blame in the fire, but he feeds the flame. Every word's a trap, every smile's a blade, and folks walk off when the dues get paid. Ain't no reasoning, ain't no peace, just a river of noise that never cease. He got the mind-stained blues soaked down deep. Ain't no prayer gonna help him sleep. Folks just sigh, they've had their cues. Ain't no fixing that mind-stained blues. Yeah, he got the mind-stained blues, and we all knew that every word he speaks just turns the sky untrue. So if you see him coming, don't catch his eye, or you'll wear them stains till the day you die. Oh man, here we go again, we're going to create change. Make it happen this time, let's go, always good vibes. Get out of the open, I can feel that it's going to be a good day, a great day. Let's go, always good vibes. Create change, let's go, always good vibes. Change, let's go, always good vibes.
Hello.
Yeah. Welcome, man. Appreciate you being here, Brother Shine. Welcome to Creating Change. We got Brother Shine in the house with us. That's Shine Dick.
Yes,
Going to
sir.
talk about this guy. We're talking about, man, it's been such one of those topics, like I told you, man. It was the first time I had my child come home and flop down beside me and ask me if I'd seen about something in this manner. And I was like, wow, I hadn't spoke to him about this. I hadn't really even talked to him about it. So it was like, well, I've got to learn about who this Charlie Kirk fellow was. And we've touched on that and touching on some of the information surrounding this guy that's accused of assassinating Mr. Kirk. And sadly enough, there's been people jeering and cheering and having fun with it. And I'm sorry, but that just crosses a moral line for me and on any standard when it comes to those types of things. And I just feel like that for my little world, my little channel, my little opportunity in the world, I just feel like it's to make darn sure that they know they're not scaring you away, that you talk about things the way you see fit, and and not start each conversation out with calling each other names or calling each other, something. Let's figure out that, there's other ways of doing it. But this guy, yeah, man, he's pretty much confessed for himself. I'm not going to speak his name. I'm not giving him that kind of credence. You guys know who I'm talking about. It's the guy that's been caught. And, just out of personal things, I'm not going to give him that type of notoriety, not even in that type of manner. Everybody already knows his name, so it's been said enough. But you know, he's pretty much already you know, throwed it out there that yeah, it was, you know, I did it to his person, his significant other. And you know, shout out to the dude's mom and dad so far. I don't know nothing else about what other information they might have had, but hey, just to turn your own son in, you did the right thing. If you
That's
felt
a
like
heavy thing to do, you can imagine.
it's heavy, and I hate that they're put in that situation. As a parent myself, I can't. I like holy God, but you can't blame the parent for that was an adult person that did that, so he made his own decision in the long run. But thankfully, his mom and dad did the right thing, and thankfully for Mrs. Kirk, you know, the widow and his mom and Mr. Kirk's mom and dad and people like that, and his people, at least he'll have to stand in front of his peers in some sort of way, and the evidence be brought out and things be at least some. There's never going to be proper closure for that poor family. All we can do is offer prayers or love and just say, look, from my own little standpoint, I didn't know you personally, but I can tell you from a personal standpoint, I can't imagine that loss. And my heart is heavy, and I send it out to you in the best way that I possibly can. But you know, we can also talk about it and talk about where we're going wrong. Like for me and you, we've often said, you know, like, man, it starts with being able to agree to disagree sometimes, but not hate one another because we disagree.
Exactly.
Like, okay, we don't agree on that particular thing. How was the football game, Sean? Or how was the hockey game? Or how was the whatever, you know, or whatever? You know, these little tiny things that maybe we don't think we see eye. And sometimes the funny thing is a lot of times the things you think you don't see eye to eye on, by the time you talk about them for a second, it's like, well, really, we're kind of looking at that a lot of time. In a lot of ways, we're looking at that pretty darn similar. And that's what I'm trying to encourage. I want civil discourse. I want people to say their mind and everything. I just think that there's a way, like we say, like, man, you can't start a conversation out by calling somebody a name. Or you're
already starting on your back foot. You know what I mean? Like you're on your
heels.
You have to meet each other with respect, and like that's an important word, because it's like there's been a lot of disrespect shown on a lot of fronts regarding the Charlie Kirk case, in my opinion. And I think that, like, you know, like we were talking about earlier, hopefully these people are held accountable in the court of public appeal, right? Because they absolutely should be. You shouldn't be celebrating anybody, regardless to what your, you know, belief system is, you know, having their life taken away from them in front of countless people, let alone his own wife and children. Like, that's just not acceptable.
No condoning that. There's no rounding that corner. There's no right for doing it. There's no reasoning behind it. And, you know, luckily, like I say, I like leaning in on the fact that this young man has been at least the evidence appears that it's pretty overwhelming against them, and that they've got, but you have to give law enforcement now their chance to properly preserve this information, properly collect this information, and properly, you know, have it for trial. Like, you can't, you know, they can't just run in there and start willy-nilly like, hey, we're taking it. Like, they have to go through their process, and they have to have they have to be able to use it, or there's no, you know, there could be a lot of things if they don't do it right that they can't use. So I just encourage them to do it the right way. Make sure that the things that we have that are pertinent, that they're able to be used. And, you know, I think for those of us that seen the annoyance of people celebrating this man's death, I'm going to push up our law enforcement apparatus. I'm going to push up the Kirk family. I'm going to push up the others out there that are grieving in this, and I'm going to say, hey, well, at least we've seen this part working out right so far. This is coming together. They caught that. They caught, and we've seen a mom and dad do probably one of the hardest things I could even think about, like having to even think about turning your own in. But hey, that's They did the right thing. Now, I don't know anything else about these people. It might come out they knew something. I don't know that. But
well, that's going to be what's interesting to see is like how much more was involved with this, if there was more. You know what I mean? Because I think that there must be a little bit more.
They definitely are looking into some stuff, because they said that there was like over 20. It's over 20 people that they're definitely, like, through chat and stuff like that. They spoke about that openly. I'm not talking about anything that that was mainstream. Like, that's what they said, was there was more, a lot of people involved in it. But the thing, that doesn't mean that they're all guilty, but at least they're looking, they're making sure they're going through
being thorough.
And how that dude managed to get where he's going and not be, I don't even know.
I don't
I don't know.
And this is a reoccurrent theme that we've seen over and over again. It's like, how did that person get to that place and was able to do that? Like, and this time they were successful, unfortunately. Right?
It's a shame. It's a shame to think that anybody would be lost in one particular set of beliefs, that they're so locked in that it makes it worthy to take another person's life. And what a lonely place that must be in your own head.
It would have to,
it's like, man, I'm just glad that it looks like that the person is going to be brought to justice and put in front of a jury of their peers. And that's the only real win, I guess, in that situation that you're going to get out of it, because you're not going to get closure. The family won't get they might get a few answers maybe that they have, but they're not going to get that closure. Like, their heart's going to be hurting. Their heart's already, it's hurting. And, it's going to have to be dragged out for a long, long time. It's going to take, however long it takes for, everything to go through court. So it's like everybody is kind of, all right, we've got some information, we're taking it in. And as we're learning, we're bringing it to everybody, and we're kind of working through it, because we both kind of had a knowledge of the man. Sean knew him, just not knew him but followed him and was aware of his stuff. And I personally didn't follow him as closely as Sean did, but I knew him. I knew him from his stuff, and I can't make a judgment on the man like that as far as whether did I like him or not. Well, I never really met him. I can just say that, like, I can totally get down with, like, I like the fact that he had something like, he had a purpose. He had something he felt that strongly about. And I can get down with that.
Yeah. And that's exactly what, kind of what I was thinking as you were talking about it, is that was the whole point of his, essence, or Charlie Kirk as a person, I believe, is because even though I followed him, I mean, I agreed with some of the things he said, but I did not agree with everything that he said. And that was kind of the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, but I didn't, freak out and be like, oh, I'm never going to see this guy again, or whatever it might be. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I had never thought of it that way, but I'm glad you brought it up, because now I've taken time to think of it for myself. And this is how I feel. Well, that should be a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, that should not be a, cut somebody down.
And it's okay for both parties to go away questioning.
Yeah. Like, that's how we come up with answers and solutions, which we really need right now, it seems. Like,
it doesn't, and it's okay for both of us to say, well, neither one of us truly know anything.
No.
So maybe you're right, maybe I'm right, maybe you're right, whatever. But hey, okay, well, whatever. How we can move on from whatever that one particular topic may be. But for me, it starts with, like, I told my mom and them down there last night, I said, no, man, I can talk to anybody and I can give anybody a chance if we can just start from a couple basic standpoints. One, let's not start out with calling each other names. And two, can we just agree that death to cause a death upon somebody is never the solution to any kind of speech or anything like that, that the solution to speech that you don't like is more. The best speech that you'll ever see is the speech that you can't stand, because that means that there is freedom of it. That means that you are getting the true essence of what the freedom of speech actually means. Because if you are getting speech that agrees with every little thing that you have to think and say, Well, then welcome to the real world. I'm going to tell you that means that you are not getting free speech. You're getting a self-censored speech. Free speech is going to have dissent. Free speech is going to have things you don't like, things that you don't agree with. But but it also, sometimes your free speech, just because it's free speech, does not mean that you're free from repercussion of your speech. Now, that doesn't mean governmental repercussion, just societal. Like,
Yeah, well, people are getting tired of this stuff, you know what I mean? And it's nice to see, like, one of the things, like, because, for anybody who doesn't know that's listening, I'm coming in from Canada, guys in the United States. And, up here, like, some of these people that made some of these celebration videos, like we were talking about earlier, they can't be held accountable legally. However, it's nice to see that employers are being like, no, we don't want that in our business. You're fired. Like, this is your consequence for maybe a life of never having any, which led you to think that this was okay in the first place.
Like, I don't want to work at the factory out there and think that Bob the boss thinks it's okay to kill people that maybe say things that they don't like. I just feel like I might wind up on that list at some point, and I don't want to be on there.
I just hope he's not having a bad day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like at some point we have to at least have a baseline that, hey, we can all agree that, man, killing someone over something that you don't agree with is not that is not an option. That's not the way it works. That's not
a viable solution in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be doing this.
No, and you wouldn't want your supervisor, say you do work at a factory, well, you wouldn't want your supervisor feeling that way. You wouldn't want your boss man feeling that way, or the person standing beside you on the factory line feeling that way. You would hope that they're caring enough about. I can tell you, my father-in-law got sucked into a machine out here. We was work at the steel plant, and man, he got drew through this machine. That once I seen the machine in person, I truly don't know how in the world that this man went through there and it didn't rip him to pieces.
Wow.
But thankfully there was men all around him that as soon as they seen him go through that, man, they went to help him because they didn't want to see him die. They wanted to see him live. Like, he's like, they didn't start asking whether is that their favorite person at the shop that got hurt? No. Is that whoever no, somebody's hurt. Oh crap, let's go help. They didn't ask, well, who is it?
No, he owes me $20, so whatever.
Man, he's been owing me $20 for a year. Let him.
No, the humanity or the human part of the human.
He didn't split his ham sandwich with me last month.
And he knows that's my favorite. Come on.
I told him my sugar was dropping.
Side-eyeing me at the dinner table. Come on now.
So, I mean, when you think about it from those terms and you think about it from a realistic standpoint, that's true. Like, you don't want that kind of person. You don't want that. You don't want those kind of people around. No, that's not what that's not where you're wanting to be at.
No.
But it's one of them things for me, man. I feel like that as much credence and as much cheering and jeering as people did for this person killing Mr. Kirk, Charlie Kirk, then I feel like we owe as much cheering and congratulating to our law enforcement apparatus, our society that come together and started trying to identify this person and started trying to throw leads out there to try to help figure out what in the world just happened. And even and it makes you feel better kind of knowing that you did take that one man's voice. I'll give you that. You took it. You got it. Okay. That was your goal. You got it. But you took that one man's voice, and now it's going to be amplified. That message is amplified by millions. You quieted that man's voice, but his message is amplified now by millions, and you can't do nothing about it now. Now you just kind of set in stone for those of us like myself and Sean who are trying to create an opportunity for ourselves where we have a chance to speak, and there's people that want to hear what we have to say in a way to share how we see to approach differences. Then that's our opportunity to stand up and say, okay, well, now this is my time to say, I'm calling out the foolishness from now on. I'm no longer no more blanket statements and not saying something to somebody about it. No more of this nonsense about this is the way it is, and I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and not tell you, look, man, you're peeing up my collar and telling me it's raining. Stop. I can smell the asparagus on me. Quit it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
And that's where I think we're at today. Is okay.
Yeah.
Let's all get to a point where you understand that we all don't agree, but we don't agree.
No.
We all don't agree with
and we
each other.
have to get to this point. Like this whole kind of standing down and just letting stuff happen is turned out not to have been such a great plan. Big surprise there, right? Oh, I was shocker. But look at what we're dealing with now. And it's like the only way we can turn this around is for people to stand up for what they believe in. You know what I mean? And not being quiet just because it makes you uncomfortable, or people have said it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. Like, no.
Well, the people that make you feel uncomfortable aren't thinking about whether it makes you feel uncomfortable or not.
Yeah,
so
of course not.
I encourage, just like I just said, to me, the freedom of speech, the only way you know you're truly receiving free speech when you receive it is that there's voices of dissent within it. That means that there is, when you're getting those voices that agree with every little thing, every little way that you do, then that means that you're in a bubble and you probably need to get out. You know, you probably need to step on outside that bubble and get some outside information. And that's why I say, here we are trying to call. I say that for me and my little channel here at Creating Change, then that is my opportunity to say, okay, well, I've always peacefully said that, man, you should have differences. I don't want to see eye to eye with every individual, because that means that I got people that's just playing into like, they're not really being honest with me. There's no way they agree with me all the time.
And you can't grow in an environment like that. And this is where like the insanity kind of breeds more insanity, is with people thinking that just by staying in this shell of anger and repeating it with any thought behind it, like if you're going to be angry about something or stand up for something, understand it, research it, like know what you're doing, pay attention to the words that you're using, and ask yourself the question of like, is what I'm doing actually making a difference? I hope that goes through their head. I do hope it goes through their head, because if not, what are you doing? And then really, what are we dealing with as a society if that's the case?
Indeed. Yeah. And being able to approach things, I think that like just putting it out there that like, man, to me, any subject can be spoke about as long as both parties agree that we're not going to call each other names and be disrespectful.
No.
Then why can't we talk about it? Why wouldn't we want to have that discussion? Because if anything, I want to try my best to at least understand what you're trying to say, at least understand where, even if I don't agree with it, at least I can say, well, I understand what they're saying. I get it. I get exactly why they see that way or whatever. That's cool. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way I'm going to go with it in my life. No, but I don't expect them to go with things the way that I see it either. I think that you should live your own. It's yours. You only get so much time.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a ton, like, you know, when that happens and you get to have those debates, like, again, I'll stress on those points of frustration. When you get frustrated with the other person's point, that's an opportunity to think about the why behind it, right? Why is this bothering me? Or what is the issue here? Is there an attachment? Is there not? And I don't think enough people are doing that in certain categories, and they're just blindly following a narrative, right? For what reasons? I mean, there could be a bunch. The simplest one I could think of is just to fit in. But I mean, even that I can't really understand, because like, if you don't have a purpose or a drive or an ideology, why would you be mindlessly fighting and trying to destroy something? That it just doesn't make sense.
Well, and what about the part of like, to each his own?
Yeah.
Like, you have the opportunity to live your life, live it.
Fair.
I don't have to agree with it. That doesn't mean I'm stopping you from living it. Like, do what you want to do, whatever. I say go make your way. Hey, shout out to everybody here. We appreciate y'all. This is Creating Change here with Guy and Sean. We were talking about this because it was a close connection for both of us, just due to the fact we have kids. We both are about the same age, you know. Well, I'm 21 and Sean's 40, and
yeah, this spring,
yeah, this spring.
yeah,
Well,
like,
I'm
share,
getting ready to turn
subscribe.
21. I'm getting ready to turn 21.
Like, share, subscribe before I run out of time.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, we're just trying to come at this in a way. If you're in here, hit that like button for me. I would appreciate it. If you have a comment, if you want to share, please, we welcome any comments. Keep them respectful, but and we try to come at things in a way where we're trying our best to approach it where you know, we're looking at both sides, and I'm also trying to approach it with caution about information I share that I've heard. I've heard a lot and I've seen a lot, but I'm being mindful about the fact that, man, I don't know everything that's 1,000%. So the things I share, like the fact that he shared that he had text messages. Well, I know that that's what this. I know that that's what the top right. I know that's what that dude said because I heard him say it.
Yeah, we're talking about the Charlie Kirk case for anybody who's just tuning in right now. So,
yeah, okay, I see you there, Oak Towers. Yeah, good to have you here. We appreciate it. We were just touching on the fact that that fellow, you know, hey, shout out to our law enforcement apparatus coming together and getting a hold of that fellow, and shout out to his mom and them for turning him in. I don't know nothing else about the people, but I can say at least they did that part right. They turned him in. That's a bet, you know. And it looks like to me, just as a layman, it looks like to me that there's awful incriminating evidence that's pretty cutting. You know, it'd be hard to refute. So, you know, at least the
like,
family.
The question I have, and I keep coming back to, is like, did he have help doing what he did? Like, you know what I mean? Did anybody know beforehand? Like, what's the skinny on that kind of thing? You know,
I think the help that they receive these days, talking about it, I'm glad you said it like that. I think the help in doing this was received in the desensitization over the course of the past 10, 15 years in these young people's lives. And I also think too, I said this to a fellow YouTuber on here, Gen X, me and him were talking. And I said this to him, man, when I first seen that scene, it looked like the stuff you see when these kids are playing these video games. Like that kind of thing. And I was like, dude, now, and then and then people are like, well, how did he make that shot? He wasn't man, these kids grow up with these games where they're playing these sniper man, they know how to aim. They know how to do all that. So man, the thing is there's been so much nonsense thrown at these young people over the past 15 years that, man, it's not that I'm giving any condoning to it at all. I'm just saying that I can see why that you got some confused young people out there that don't know what the hell to think. That they're like, dude, what's even real?
And what to look forward to as well, I think, is the bigger thing for a lot of these kids. You know what I mean? Like, everything is like very chaotic, very chaotic. I can't imagine being a young person today and having to, like, think about back to like when you were like a teenager or right before, and like how kind of confusing that time was, all the changes that go on, but there was something to look forward to. It felt like that anyway. And I don't know if that feeling has transcended to this, you know, generation. And that's a sad thing, I think, you know.
Well, and as a voice of only one person, and you know, you're only one person, and my knowledge base is only so deep within a lot of these discussions, because like I said, the reason why that this even became a topic in my brain was because my 15-year-old come home from school like it was every day, and he flopped down beside me and he was like, Dad, did you hear about Charlie Kirk down? And I had, but I was truly surprised that he even kind of even knew or had it, because I had never spoke to him about it. I really didn't follow the man. I just knew who he was. And it was like, well, dang, I've got to learn a little bit more about him. And then, you know, once I started seeing, well, man, he was trying to do things like he was going to college campus. College campuses are made for voices of dissent. You're supposed to have open debate. You're supposed to have dialogue. How the hell are you going to learn anything?
You know, checks and balances on your ideas that you have. Like, that's why we're supposed to talk about things. Like, it doesn't matter, your political siding. Like that part really doesn't matter. It's like we have to be able to talk about, hey, okay, maybe you say something and I have to, you know, verify or check with that and be like, what do you mean by that? Like, you know what I mean? Like this is how we got to start. And then you're gonna be like, well, this is what I mean. I'd be like, oh, well, I think this. And then you're gonna be like, well, I think that. Like that's the nature of a conversation, and that needs to be brought back, because if we can talk, I mean, what's
at the core of it, he was doing it the way that we have encouraged young people since college times, was to go to college and expand your thought, expand your whole idea of what it is that you're thinking. And now it's like it's came full circle. Now it's went right back. Like you're not allowed to have that open dialogue, or somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to say you're not talking about this enough, you're not talking about that enough, or you're not doing enough of this. Well, one thing I can say about Charlie is I'm in a protected bubble right here. I'm not out in the public where somebody can throw something at me or yell something at me. I got some, you got your keyboard cowboys and everything that want to type stuff, but you know what I mean? They're just at that point, their mind, that doesn't matter. It's like
it's a different ball game altogether, right?
It's like you're just trying your best to recognize the things that in your life are important, or like the things that, okay, well, what is it that college was meant for? College was meant for people to go there, learn things they don't know already, and be around people from all over the world, from all different walks of life. They're not from your little neighborhood that you went to elementary school, middle school, and high school with. They're from people all over the country, all over the world, and now you're put in a position where you grow, because if you don't, you're left behind. But now we've put people in this. You go to this school to be this, and you go to this school to be that, and you go to this school, and you got to think this way, and you go to this school, and if you don't think this way, then you got to have security.
Just very, very, very clear, or like very apparent that there's an active campaign for division, which is at such a rapid race or pace, excuse me, now that it's. I wonder if it's possible to catch up and turn it around. Like I'm not like you know what I mean? Like I actually wonder about that now, because I mean it's going so fast, and I mean that's in all areas, as far as I've seen. And like this is not coming from like stuff I've seen on here. This is coming from firsthand experience over the past couple months across the country. And once certain things hit a certain point, and I think the big thing that we need to remember is every system can only supply so much demand, right? We can only tolerate working against each other for so long before the levee breaks, so to speak. You know what I mean? And it's time for us to come together and see, like, okay, like we're ultimately, if you really are a hard whatever, that pretty much means you're never, ever going to agree with the other side. So that leaves you with two choices. You can continue to be like that and lead a completely unproductive life, or you can realize that, hey, maybe there's something, maybe I deserve something a little bit better for me, and maybe I can be a little bit better than this, even if I don't agree with you.
Yep.
Those are your options. What else are you going to do?
That's what you're supposed to do. I mean,
like
it seems so obvious that we have to have these open conversations in schools and in those academic spaces where we have the voices of dissent that don't see things exactly the way we do. And see, that's the thing, is like, if that's what y'all want to get on here and do, then talk about him, guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Absolutely.
how I feel about it, is like, I get on here and I speak about what I'm led to speak on. And that's pretty much my prerogative. See, that's why we call it, creating change. And that's why it's called YouTube, is this is something that I feel compelled to speak on. Yep. And Sean feels compelled to speak on, because it hits us, and it hits us actually at our house with our children. and it's actually here. See, these are things that happened years ago and things that we can't do. No, I don't know nothing about some of these other things, but this right here is happening in real time, real
Yep.
life.
Yes,
And
it
I'm
is.
trying to be not only reactionary, but as a dad, as a husband, as a community member, and as a little small YouTuber on here with a little tiny bit of a small platform, then I'm trying to utilize it in a way where I can push up free dissent of thought, free
Mhm.
ideas of thinking. Everybody can have their we don't have to agree on everything, but we also don't have to hate each other for nothing. We
But I
don't have
think
to
we can
hate.
all agree that it's for the betterment of everyone. Should we all just agree to try a little bit? Like
Just
no
a
one's
little bit.
asking, no one's asking for a miracle here. It's just we got to
Right.
try a little bit, and if we're going
Or
to
accuse
dwell on all
someone
the
of,
things, yeah,
or throw accusations out as like, as if you wouldn't call out one thing or the other. It's like, man, I'm only one person. I've only ever had one voice, and I only have one mind to think with. And I
mhm,
try to make sure that when I approach a subject, then I've got my heart in line with it, but I also have educated myself on it so that I know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
yeah,
And, when I'm speaking opinion, I make it clear I'm speaking opinion. But, when
absolutely,
it's when facts are facts and facts are facts to me. And, I think a lot of our big trouble has been that nobody wants to be told something that they don't. I get that it's uncomfortable to hear what maybe you don't like to hear. But if you truly believe in free speech, then that means you want to hear some things that you probably don't like. That the best free speech is the worst things that you hear, because that means you're truly hearing free speech. You're
yeah.
truly getting the essence of free speech. Because if you're only getting things that you like, that's not truly free speech, because everybody don't like the same thing.
And
Everybody
again,
don't
to
agree
the
the same thing.
ability that you're supposed to have to question the reasons why you don't like the other idea. Like that's where you're able to generate your identity, your own ideologies. Like Lincoln said it best, I don't like that man. I should get to know him better. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's what is it that I don't like about him? What is it that bothers me? Is probably a lot closer related to you than you actually think, and
Yeah.
science backs that up, right? So,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more in common than not in common. In most cases, if you give yourself that opportunity without being blinded by just groupthink. Without
yeah,
that, it's just like I try to push all the time that, man, like anytime you see anybody just right straight down the line, always doing the same thing, then they're really not a free thinker. Because a free thinker's like, you're never gonna just be, this is the way that's
no,
just not true.
no,
Because as a man at almost 50 years old now, there's a lot of things that at 48 that I feel a hell of a lot different now than I did at 28 or even
yeah,
at,
absolutely,
38. I
yeah,
have
for
different
sure.
opinions. My mind has grown. I've grown. Ideas have grown. Things change. So, to even think that you're just going to always be one straight, this is it, staunch, and this is the only
And
way.
that you have to be. I think that's important. Is that like if people feel like they have to be a certain way, really take a look at that, because that's not how it's supposed to work. You know what I mean? And I can say that for myself as a younger man. I thought I had to be a certain way, and I did that for a long time. And then it cut me down at the knees, and it took me another decade to build myself back up to where I'm at now. So,
Mhm.
it's important to think about where you're at, especially as a young person that's doing maybe anything, thinking about different stuff. It's okay to think thoughts, but if they get to the point where, you know what I mean, they're taking you over, talk to somebody about it. Don't don't just act out thinking that something, I don't know. I don't even know what the thought process would be there, but I do know acting out, and I do know that doing things to impress people or to just be part of a group doesn't usually shake out in one's favor from personal experience. So, you know, let's get
Well, you're
let's
dumbing
get tough.
yourself down. You're not growing at all. You're
No.
not getting nowhere. You're dumbing yourself down. Oh, you're not giving yourself a chance. And there's been a lot, and shout out to, once again, man, our law enforcement did a good job. They got a hold of that guy, and looks like they're doing their best to preserve evidence properly so that it can be used. And I'm just happy that, the information, they've shared enough information that I feel good about it. And I know there'll be more to come, but I also understand the reason why they have to kind of pull the reins back and allow themselves to collect things properly and to do those types of things. And I'm just glad. I'm just glad for the Kirk family in what little bit of way maybe that it like, okay, at least they caught the person, and maybe somehow there'll be some type of closure come for them. Hopefully, I in some sort of small way, I know that there won't be no real closure for him.
No.
But at least he's gonna have to stand in front of a jury of his peers. And that's all we can say. And he is facing the death penalty from what I understand. So like, it's not, not no game, like they coming down on him. So, but rightfully so.
Well, it'll be quite an unfolding for sure. And to see if there was more tentacles that exceed beyond just the one individual, I think is going to be something to be found. You know what I mean? And I hope that they do take their time, and I hope that anybody, if there was anybody outside of the one individual are associated, that they are got and they are dealt with the same or worse, right? So no, we got to stop this stuff. We got to stop all this.
There's got to be a point at which that we can all just agree that the conversation does not start with name calling, and then the conversation certainly is going to be two sides. There's two sides, and and when we start with like agreeing that everybody deserves life, like we're not going to start by, okay, because we don't agree with each other, that one or the other has to die or somehow. That's not the way that that's not normal. That's not normal, and we're not going to normalize. That's not normal. But yeah, this is Creating Change. I appreciate y'all being here. My name is Guy. I always try to come at things with good vibes. This is Brother Shine. We do a shared channel at Guy and Shine of our Monday, Wednesday, Friday show, 11 to 1. We encourage you, if you'd like what you're hearing, then we try to keep the same vibe and the same thing going over there. And over here, I'm hitting at all different topics, and like to touch on some music. Also do some community building times where we just have people get together. Any questions you might have, we try to come through, answer them the best that I can, if I can, in any sort of way. But we appreciate y'all being here. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, no matter which side that you're coming in from. We thank you.
Subscribe, comment,
hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button. If you're on my side of the channel, jump over and say hi to Shine. If you're on Shine, come on over and say hi to Creating Change. We appreciate you. We got at Guy and Shine if you want to catch our show Friday, 11 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. And it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Eastern Standard Time. But guys, I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you guys very much for being in the comments section. We appreciate all the comments and everything. Hey, if anything, the way I feel about it is it's engagement, guys. Whether we agree or not, at least we're starting. Yes. We're getting somewhere, guys. Maybe we can talk about football next time, and we'll have you'll be agreeing with me or whatever. So
how about ice skating or the upcoming pumpkin season? I mean, the ideas are endless.
I mean, I do know quite a bit. I mean, I'm pretty knowledgeable, man. So I mean,
one day at a time, folks. Keep it together. Yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, you guys have a good, man. Shout out to you guys.
Got a fire in my soul, yeah, it's burning bright. Guy band, he told me just to follow the light. Well, I heard the people singing with all their might. So I hit the ground running, and I ran all night. And we sang, run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. my friends, and I ran into people that I didn't know then. And I said to them, hey, I could use a hand. And then I ran and I ran, and I ran and I ran, and we sang, run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. They say it's dangerous out there, but not if we're all here. If we're together, we can run without fear. They say it's dangerous out there, but not if we're all here. If we're together, we can run without fear. Well, the children and the elders and the strangers and the neighbors and the doctors and the teachers and the farmers and the bakers and the scientists and builders and the singers and the players and the buskers and the dancers and the dreamers and the painters and the coaches and the helpers and the artists and creators and the yogis and the healers and the preachers and the changers and the people and the planet and the forests and the rivers and the mountains and the oceans and the future and the vision. And the buskers and the patience and the future and the vision. Run, run.